And welcome back for the third time today. The South Hobart v Devonport Strikers round 3. Lakoseljac Cup clash is upon us. The spot in the FFA Cup round of 32 and that big shiny trophy up for grabs.
Beautiful.
We've had 2 cracking finals to start the day, with Beachside surprising Olympia in the under-20s in a penalty shootout before the Zebras down the lines in the Women's Statewide Cup. And now we have yet another South Hobart Devonport battle in prospect. They've played 2 of the last 3 years in this competition. Devonport have won 1-0 both times. The 2 years before that, South Hobart won. They've won 4 of the last 5 cups between them. They've been the 2 powerhouses of Tasmanian football over the last 5 or 6 years. And the stage is set for another epic between these 2 great football clubs, Devonport and South Hobart. I'm Andrew Cooling. Joining me to call the action here this afternoon is Jake Morgan and Paul Hunt. Boys, a big game in prospect here today.
Well, pleasure to be here, Andrew. And more than a big game, it is almost the biggest game that Tasmania sees, aside from when we are fortunate enough to host FFA Cup events. But this is the decider for who will be Tasmania's entrant in the FFA Cup. So you can imagine what it means to every single one of these clubs to even fight to get into this position. But for South Hobart and Devonport today, it will be no holds bars battle to really try and put their hands on that vase.
I think that's the correct way to interpret it, Jake Morgan. They've played out 2 tight tussles in the last 3 years. And a big occasion set here. Very good crowd in at KG5. They predicted rain. I know the Strikers had a fair bit to cop as they were coming down earlier today, but the lights are on, the sun is out, and a big match is in prospect as we will go through the South Hobart lineup for you out there. Adam Gorry, the nominal right back for South Hobart. Hugh Ludford, the captain, the veteran in the centre of defence. A Frenchman, Mike Farrell. Nick, the Morthog Morton, he loves the big stage. As the Morthog, the youngsters are plenty coming up in the rest of this lineup. Samuel Barazanski, young flying winger for South. Bradley Lakoseljac. Yes, the cup is named after his grandfather. His first game in a final of the Lakoseljac Cup, a big occasion for him and his family. Number 11, Benjamin Hammertime Hamlet. He has come into red-hot form so far this season. He'll be one to watch. The Canadian, the Calgary Flyer, Iski Van Dorn, adding a nice bit of international flavour to this Lakoseljac Cup final. Oscar Thomas, the Giraffe, he can play this year. Missed out the other year due to a very, very ill-timed university exam, and it'll be good to see him back in the lineup this year.
Tobias Savinen.
Class.
Well, he didn't last year. He sat the exam and his team lost without him.
Give him some credit. He's doing medicine, though. He's not doing a mere arts degree like many of us.
Tobias Savinen coming in. Thanks for rubbing that in. The left back. And Graham Wright maintaining his spot in goal. Him and Kieran Brown have had a ding-dong battle for that goalkeeping spot. On the bench is the aforementioned Kieran Brown. Jack Bowman with some defensive help. Darcy Hall, we expect him to make an appearance at some point. And then the other youngsters, Casper Hallam and Tay Evans, round out the South Hobart lineup.
The Darcy Hall just feels a little bit like when you put Theo Walcott on the bench of your FIFA lineup and you bring him on late, and when defences are tired, that is going to be a worrying sight for Devonport.
Yeah, I heard he burned down the training track the other night, so expect to see him at some point. Well, there's the Devonport team. No Braden Mann. That was the big intrigue around this fixture. I think anyone who saw him at the ground today realised he wasn't going to play, but they resisted the urge to put him on the bench, instead sticking faith with the youngsters that got them there. Perhaps the big surprise was the big decision. They had 5 players to fill 4 roles. They've opted for the defensive presence of Hingston in midfield, and they'll go for pace with Giampoli and Stone probably leading the line as the false 9 or the striker. Miles Barnard, who's performed that role, on the bench. So the Fox in the box, expect to see him unleashed off the pine today. He was the match winner last year. He was the match winner when they met in the league back in April. A key as we go through the rest of the lineup. Eddie Bidwell has moved to the right wing this year, been fantastic. Max Fitzgerald, he'll play on the opposite flank, one of the players of the season. Giampoli was a figure of controversy last time he played on this ground, against the Zebras in the quarterfinal of this tournament. Hingston hasn't played in a while. How will his legs be? Kieran Mulroney, what a fantastic season he's having in the heart of defence. A real leader is the skipper. Connor Parker will be the right back. Nathan Pitchford is unquestionably the best goalkeeper in the state. A real edge for the Strikers today. Raph Reynolds, big shoes to fill. Guillermo Lascano was the player of the final last year. Visa issues ruled him out, so Reynolds will partner Mulroney. Dom Smith will be the left back. Joel Stone, there may not be a player in more form in the state than Joel Stone right now. He's the game breaker for them. Daniel Sison has scored some key goals in midfield with Hingston in there. He'll be playing a more advanced role today. As long with Barnard, we've got Bidwell, Dance, Pearce and West on the bench. Very youthful, but I'd expect Barnard will be the first one to get a look in there.
Yeah, I reckon any time, not long after the hour, I would imagine the Fox in the box being unleashed, the goal scorer from their match last year, also scored up at South Hobart in the league. Early on, as we have a look at the official photo, Hugh Ludford, Kieran Mulroney captaining their sides. They were youngsters back in 2008 when these teams also met in the cup final. The only two players from that game 11 years ago still trotting around and now captaining their sides here this afternoon, as we'll get the photos and coin toss underway fairly soon. It is going to be a huge occasion. Both sides bringing good set of fans here as well. I'm going to stick my neck out in the line, boys. I'm going to inch towards Devonport by an inch.
I don't know that that's sticking your neck out too much. My read of it coming into this game is that Devonport should be a clear favourite in this match. They've been clearly the best team in the league to this point, and compared to a South Hobart team that have only really begun to find form in the last 3 or 4 weeks or so, including that demolition of Olympia in the semi-final leg. So I think I'll be going a comfortable victory 3-1 for Devonport today.
Well, I will stick my neck out because it's not what you did, Paul Hunt, and I will tip South Hobart to win this one. I just think they're in the better form. They've clicked, and I think Ben Hamlet leading the line is the key to this game. If the Strikers can negate him, it'll go a long way towards achieving victory. I think the Strikers' ability to just grind out results has been absolutely marvellous over the last month. They haven't played their best football, but they haven't lost games, and they do certainly have the physical edge. They have the know-how, but I think over the last month, South have played the better football. But this, for me, is a genuine coin flip of the game.
It's very interesting just having a look at the different players that they have available to them on the Pine, particularly in an offensive sense, because I think Kynan West too is one of the most selfless young players that I've seen pop up out of Devonport. He's the type of player who makes really selfless runs that open up a lot of space for players like Joel Stone and Fitzgerald to thrive in. So it's going to be excellent to see that young man hopefully come off the Pine. But we're underway in this Lakoseljac Cup final, the biggest game in Tassie, and Dom Smith gets us going straight away, throwing himself into a couple of challenges. And they could be in here very early for South. There's a couple of bodies in the middle, but a poor cross. Second cross comes in. Saved from Pitchford there, I think. Just stopping it, get across the face. Some great early pressure here from South.
Well, they scored within 10 seconds of a cup final against the Hobart Zebras a few years back, and they nearly matched that effort. They have a bit of a reputation as fast starters, and Morton continues the early pressure. Van Dorn's cross, can it find Hamlet? Good defence from Raph Reynolds. Everyone puts their hand up. It'll be a goal kick only.
No, it was
right start from South here.
Pretty much like when you get a soft question in class, that one. Just everybody wanting to get on the teacher's good side there. Hands up everywhere, but scintillating start from South, particularly in the wide areas. Maybe Dom Smith just over-committing a little bit early on and created the space, but I think they'll be a bit more defensively disciplined than that Devonport.
Well, it's an interesting shape they've gone with here, South Hobart. Looks like Avanen's lining up in a back three with Berezanski's a wing back, and then you've got Morton leading the line. So Ken Morton has swung a bit of a tactical surprise here today. Ben Hamlet from range! Oh, good purchase. And an early test for Pitchford, which he passes with the flying colours.
Got a good first early touch on the ball, did Nathan Pitchford, the hero for Devonport so far this season, as Ludford whacks that one clear. Van Dorn underneath it, battling with Smith. Morton, look at Gorry bombing on down the right-hand side. He'll eventually go there. Will the Morthog. Gorry, back to Whiskey Van Dorn, the Calgary Flyer. Morton trying to turn Dom Smith. Bit of a shirt pull. No advantage played. Brought back by Stratos Plomaridis. He tried about it and then pulled it back.
I think the shirt tug might have continued on which is perhaps why he called it back. So hard to have gained the advantage while the foul continues, I suppose. But yeah, he could have gotten into a better spot there. Maybe right to question Plomeritis there, Andrew.
They seem to be powering into the box, the Morthog Morton, who's started brightly. A set-piece opportunity for South. The Strikers looking to absorb the early pressure. Adam Gorry to bend this one in. He goes near post. Hamlet was there, and it spills out the back to Pitchford. And he shuts that one down comfortably. Pitchford, of course, was the star last time they met back in April. I think round 5 match-up in the NPL. Pitchford clearly best on, made a string of big saves that day. And he'll need to be sharp again today. Berezanski up against Park here, but he'll be brought back for a foul on Ludford. I think this is his 9th cup final he's playing in today, Lakoseljac Cup final. Talk about a storied career in the local game here. They call him the Warhorse. Well, he's got a few medals from his service. He has been absolutely outstanding for so long for South Hobart. Here's Nick Morton trying to catch Pitchford out with a swinging cross to the back stick. Park leading Berezanski to the ball and just sees it safely into touch.
Well, it would have been an accidental goal from the Nick Morton cross, but by Jove, it would have looked fairly spectacular swinging in from that angle, but really worrying signs early for Dom Smith out on that left flank, I think. Bit of overlap coming in from Morton, which combined with the threat of the Calgary flyer, Iski Van Dorn, causing them a lot of problems out that side early.
Will be Connor Park to take this throw in. And you may see some overlap there on that far side, especially if Gorry bombs on. Morton drifting over Van Dorn. Interesting tactics here from South Hobart as the salad artist Daniel Sison heads that one out of play. Seems like, as predicted, it will be Champoli as a false 9 for Devonport, with Joel Stone bombing on from a number 10 role. Park to Fitzgerald. Good flick on. Loic Farrell gets it into the chest of Sison and wins his side a throw in.
Very important player today, Loic Farrell. If anyone can slow down Joel Stone, you'd fancy the French Falcon might be the man to do that. As this one's a throw in, Toby Havanen. Have a little bit of extra coverage with the back 5 today. Morton flicks on for Hamlet to give chase, but really give him a chance on that one. He absolutely lit up that semi-final, Ben Hamlet. Scored 3. Tried to claim a 4th, but the video brought him undone on that one. As Park slings this one down towards Fitzgerald. Such a key mover for this Devonport team, and he turns into the bullseye here. Swings it out across to Bidwell. Now Fitzgerald again. They combined, but he coughed it straight up to Adam Gorry, the former striker, of course, in 2016. It was his goal that sunk South Hobart. Raking crossfield ball, looking for the run of Sison. And Graham Wright just seeing it out of play there.
And Gorry, the hero of that day in 2016, and the exuberant, passionate celebration down about where the ball is at the moment. And Warhorse trotting forward and looking for an option. Hingston hasn't had a lot of game time in the last month, but plenty of experience himself in Lakoseljac Cup finals. Pitchford as well, not shy to the big occasion as well. There's a lot of big game experience out there today, and that's a good flick on from Park. Fitzgerald running into the channels, trying to jink past Ludford, falls to the top of the box. Gorry gets a toe in. Bidwell's in a good pocket of space there. Hingston, he went the slightly more adventurous chip through ball, maybe just a pass to feet. Might have been the better option.
Yeah, just a bit too much heat on that pass from King Leonidas there, but he'll be back and he'll stand against anyone, that's for sure. He's a real seasoned operator too for the Devonport Strikers, has old Todd Hingston. And great to see an old head out there starting for them today, because something typical of them is how many good young players they've produced, and that is a very poor defensive pass there from Wright. Would have expected a lot better than that from the man. It just invites pressure on when you are so sloppy in possession. The ball's heaved in by Park now. Just headed to nowhere really before the Warhorse gets in and up. Berezanski gets beaten to it by Fitzgerald. He's got a couple in. Decent cross. Well read by Farrell to get it away. South could be able to break here before the possession is won back.
It's Leonidas in the middle, swings it out to Hingston. Here's Eddie Bidwell up against Adam Gorry, starting on the left today. The two have been the premier right backs of the comp the last couple of years. Joel Stone now turning on a dime and swinging across in for Sison. Brings it down, Sison! Couldn't quite pick out the far post. A dinked effort, not far away. Lovely work from Joel Stone, showing his class early in this.
Joel Stone.
Graham Wright doing just enough to put off the salad artist Sison.
Stopped and turned on a 5-cent piece there, did Joel Stone. That was some wonderful footwork and an equally as good cross there to Sison, but unfortunately Devonport's finest salad artist could not get a hold of the ball. Just allowed it into the arms of Wright.
Kingston looking to disrupt the play here. Smith at the back to the Canadian, Raph Reynolds. The aimless ball. Ludford forward to Berezanski, the youngster. Onwards to Hamlet. Now Hamlet turns and runs straight into Hingston. Shut that off, and then Mulroney came across, worked it forward for Bidwell. Left it for Giampoli. Ignacio Giampoli chipping it forwards, but Devinen rising in the air to see it away from Fitzgerald. That one's going to elude Bidwell. Is just feeling that one is Ignacio, but I think he'll get too much sympathy.
You know,
he goes down today.
He's been hit as hard as Jaden Hay hit him there. Like, very, very hard indeed.
It's such a clever player on the ball, and he looms as a danger man for the Strikers today. Hingston strongly in the air, and then Farrell just trying to work Stone off of it, but Stone took it in stride, then lost it to Havainen. Havainen through the legs of Park to Berezanski. The youngsters combine. Morton to Hamlet, back to the Morthog Morton. Hamlet looking to soldier into the box on the left. He drew a very sharp save from Pitchford, and he denies Hammertime Hamlet with a very sharp save. He's had to be dialed in early here, Pitchford, and South Hobart doing the early attacking.
Well. Got to say, the one-touch passing there from South Hobart was just about as good as any move that I've seen for all of season 2019. With some great one-touch play. And they get the rewards here with the corner. Morthog curls it in. Looked like it was going top corner. Pitchford was well alert to it. Iski Van Gorn now with Park for company. Gets onto his left, but only drills it as far as Bidwell, and he smacks the clearance away.
And Ludford holding the fort at the back. All their youngsters running around with great energy up front, causing a little bit of problems here for the Strikers' defence so far. Van Dorn being the main outlet, and that's a good flick on. Lakoseljac goes the return ball. Mulroney coming across. Van Dorn with the long slide. That little bit of moisture we had here this morning at KG5 might still be in effect. He got some good distance on that slide. No avail in retaining possession. As Pitchford will take the goal kick. He's, we alluded to, probably been the best keeper in the state, certainly so far this season. That performance at South Hobart, the save in the 92nd minute, one of the highlights of the NPL season, and Joel Stone showing his tricks as well. Fitzgerald out to Park, running out of real estate is Havainen, but a good tempo so far in the opening 10 minutes.
It's Connor Park with the throw in here. He's searching for Giampoli. Havainen beat him to it. Morton dropping back deep. Havainen picks out Hamlet and holds it up and plays in Berezanski down the left. He's got Park in close proximity. Looks to take him on, the youngster, the 16-year-old, having a run here, but the experience of Park able to deal with it, and the crowd just getting a little bit excited at the prospect of a crowd catch down there, and Braden Mann just watching on from the sidelines there. A few people had him sliding into the lineup today. They resisted that temptation. Here's Hamlet. Lays it back, but it wasn't his best work. Gave Fitzgerald a chance. Now Joel Stone skipping into space and driving into the heart of the South defence. Max Fitzgerald back on the ball. The dynamic left winger. Plays it across to Eddie Bidwell. Bidwell trying to get the better of Adam Gorry. Lays it back to Fitzgerald. Away by Ludford. So much experience, and his header was a good one. Straight to the path of Hamlet. He's got absolutely naught out in advance of him, though. So he wisely just waits for reinforcements. Berezanski with a really intelligent ball. Picks out Nick Morton. First time cross. Mulroney shanks the clearance a little, and behind for a corner it goes.
Intelligent ball from Berezanski to spot that run of Morton, who's come across from the middle of the park. Mulroney maybe could have got a shout there from Pitchford. Had time to take a touch and clear it upfield rather than out for a corner. It was South will line up. Another corner from this side. Berezanski offering short. Be well pressed to go towards their tall timber. Wood South, that's into the mix. Pitchford appealing for it. Farrell, and eventually the foul has been called.
Chaos in the box there.
I think may have been Loic Farrell and Pitchy Pitchford just there, just blocking the keeper's run to the ball. If we have another look at this one, Ben Hamlet rather. They do say that keepers are a protected species at times, but I think the foul was reasonably clear there and correctly called. Devonport now could be in. It's Fitzgerald. He's got Ludford for company. Goes to the near post. It's fallen. Oh, and the back heel attempt! It was really a back heel attempted pass to Stone, and the ball just ran out of play. But that could have been one of the more creative goals that we've seen this year.
Oh, Oscar Thomas will be breathing a sigh of relief. He just had to deal with this, and he just misses at a fresh area at the worst possible moment. As I say, it's just a moment of inspiration here. We'll cut back to live play, but the back-heeled effort was wide, but certainly threatening stuff. And Thomas with a rare error there. Berezanski. Nick Morton dropping back a little bit deeper now after starting in a pretty advanced position. Expect him to cover plenty of territory today. The odds on to cover the most kilometres. A few run more than Nick Morton. Here's Berezanski working it forward to Hamlet. Hamlet spies Iski Van Dorn and just hit it a bit too far ahead of him there. A bit too much purchase on that one. Well out in front of the Canadian, who's made a bright start to this one. Yeah, approaching the quarter of an hour mark. And plenty of interest for both teams so far. Both looking incapable. Here's Gorry. Forwards for Hamlet. Hamlet to Van Dorn. That combination pressing. Eddie Bidwell steps in and has won the throw for his side there, Bidwell.
Yeah, the previous cup finals between South and Devonport, they've always provided good entertainment, good tempo, not usually high on goals. And it looks like the first 15 minutes of this game has fallen into that pattern. As it seems the South Hobart fans are taking the far side of the ground. Oscar Thomas rising high over Gempoli. That's going to be a mismatch in the air if they play too many long balls in Iggy's direction. Bit of a height differential. It was John Smith. It's good at Devonport. They got a bit more balance in their defensive four. And Reynolds, we saw him play out here at left back one week when they had Lascano and Reynolds. Lascano, unfortunately, having to go back to Spain. Reynolds can slot into that centre back role that he played so well for the Strikers in 2017 as Smith. Down the line, Thomas gets a toe in. What? Wins the throw in. Oh, that just came straight off his boot in the end.
Well, you're a poet and you don't even know it there, Paul. Lovely lyrical words from you there. As Oscar Thomas just heads that one away, but may have been an offside flag come up from the famed Brenton Copper, I think it is, down there, running up and down the line, one of Tasmania's finest.
Certainly is. Nathan Code on the other side as well, and
still disappointed about his lack of mullet in this day and age.
All business these days, Cody. As Max Fitzgerald tries to burst, and Berezanski did pretty well to track back, but Fitzgerald spun nicely into space and cops it up to Adam Gorry. He'll just set it out in front of Toby Havainen. Opts not to chase after that. Raph Reynolds cool and composed and just waited out Morton there. Joel Stone hustling and bustling away in his customary fashion. He's just run it out of play there. And Loic Farrell doing a good job.
Almost about to see a little bit of Nemanja Vidic there. I thought from Farrell as he was lying down, about to go the headed challenge on the ground.
I was going to go more recent and go Ryan Grant the other night with his infamous lie down in front of Sun Hyun Min. On the same wavelength, though. It's an interesting way to prevent an attack. And Havainen steals about 10 yards before a free kick is given. We're pushing the back. Park on Hamlet. And South will send the tall timber forward.
Nick Morton, he'll want to stamp himself on this contest. He certainly stamped himself on that cup final win over the Hobart Zebras, but has been well held by the Strikers in both the losing cup finals. He'll want to rise to the occasion today. Loves a big crowd as the Morthog, and he's got this free kick here. He'll need to do better than that, but Berezanski pounces on it and tries to drive towards the byline and just finds himself a corner off of Joel Stone. He started well, the youngster here, not looking overawed, the 16-year-old.
No, certainly not. He played a particularly good through ball earlier on through to Nick Morton, but just think the young lad needs to be aware that he's maybe not as quick at this level as he is at the younger levels that he's played at. As Morthog curls it in, falls only to Giampali, who just gives it the old NFL punt for a bit of height and distance there. Ludford having the pressure drawn on him, and they're forced all the way back to right. Just gets up and under that one and says, anything you can punt, I can punt better.
Have the hang time on the screen in a minute as Morton nearly gets in, coming across as Mulroney. Captain's clearance as well with a bit of hang time. Nice touch there from Connor Park.
Certainly a little bit more breeze out there than I perhaps thought as the game was kicked off. We can see plenty of the trees rustling in the breeze, but we are rugged up and fine in a nicely sheltered stadium, really, as it were.
As Berezanski skips into some space here and he just chips one into pitch, but that may be the first time this derelict venue's ever been referred to as such, Jake Morgan. We've got a couple of thousand people here and the facility's not really worthy of such an occasion if you're listening state government, as this one's
and
not
federal.
long. Election's been, I think that's done. It's picked up by Park in there and it spills out the back to Iski Van Dorn. Van Dorn sends it down the line for Hamlet. Again, Mulroney, an intervention. Losing his footing was Bidwell. I was out to play Hamlet. And Bidwell with a bit of pushing and shoving.
Here we go.
No need for anything silly. Of course, the two who are on most high alert for that sort of thing is Max Fitzgerald and Adam Gorry. If either of them were to get a yellow card today, they would miss the round of 32 of the FFA Cup. So they really need to be
Is that
careful.
really the rules?
It'd be their third yellow in the qualifying rounds. This is technically part of the FFA Cup.
That is a ridiculous rule.
I'd tend to agree. At least it's 3, not 2.
Yeah.
But here's Nick Morton. So those two need to be very careful today. And there is Adam Gorry. Nick Morton pouncing on it, swinging it towards Hamlet. Let it run, but that just allowed a play on the ball by Connor Park. Left it long to Ludford.
Been pretty good today too, has Park. He's dealt with Berezanski reasonably well. Just using his strength and pace a little bit, but I think we're definitely seeing that South Hobart are preferring to attack out this right-hand side, and it does seem that Havanen's been given a bit of an order to tuck in.
Shenanigans.
I was talking about South Hobart being the main presence on that side of the ground. I think that's Exhibit A of that one. And as Morton lets it run over his head, Joel Stone, another one who will like to impose himself on the game and indeed the crowd. He's got the ball now to Stone. Hingston look to go to Park. Berezanski surrounded and might fall to Fitzgerald on the wing, battling against Tavainen. Calls for a push in the back, no foul given. Tight work down in the corner and go towards the striker's favour. As we have a mild argument about who's going to take the throw-in. Dogger Brown unsurprisingly marching through the technical area as well. It's been a feature of his debut season in the dugout. That throw-in straight to Oscar Thomas. And Park will have take 2.
Strikers just looking to get their foot on the ball and ask a few questions of the South defence. They've been doing a fair bit of defending themselves so far in the opening 20 here. Sison trying to shake free of some close attention. Does really well. Sison with Bidwell's header. Couldn't quite direct it. Joel Stone giving chase here. And he'll gather it under his spell and look to take on Adam Gorry. Great match up this one. He skips into some space. Lays it back for Bidwell. Eddie Bidwell couldn't get past Adam Gorry, shut that down. And now the counter's on through Iski Van Dorn, the Calgary Flyer. It's a 2v4. Devonport should be able to deal with this. And Iski might just need to hold it up. Wait for some support. Morton's arriving. He lays it back for Gorry. Well thought out there by Van Dorn. Now the cross from Gorry. In towards Morton and Hamlet. And a handball has been spotted.
It's also high boot there from Hamlet. Acknowledging that to Reynolds. Allowing Pitchford to take the kick. And again, not a huge amount of height in the starting 11 for the Strikers up front. So they'll play it to Reynolds, who eventually tries to go over the back of the defence and does. Park has pushed on well. And good distance there. Quick throw. Fitzgerald. Ludford coming across. Morton tries to flick it around Reynolds and does well. Hamlet showing good pace. Now wants the return ball to Morton. Mulroney and Morton in towards the corner flag, and I think Morton's kicked that out for a goal kick, and that's what's been given. Good covering defence in the end from the captain, Mulroney.
Tried to sell it though, didn't he, Morton? He really gave it plenty. Wasn't to be deceived. The official. Right decision. Pitchford in a busy man in the opening 22 minutes. Has had to make a couple of sharp saves early on. South have had the better start of the two, but pretty even game in prospectors. Farrell moves it forward straight to Raph Reynolds. Sison and Stone just going to look at it. In the end, Stone goes back to Daniel Sison. And the salad artist just clipping this one over the top and doesn't really give Fitzgerald much of a chance. We reach the halfway mark of the first half. It's shaping as another tight one between these two. 1-0 wins to Devonport, 2018 and 2016. Third cup final between the pair being played out on 3 of the last 4 deals between them as well. They've been a real power clubs of Tasmanian football. They meet again for the cup and the place in the FFA Cup round of 32, the highly coveted qualifying spot there. Who will show their wares on the national stage. Here's Lakoseljac, our most famous of names. Morton, great sliding challenge. Stone just got in to hold him up temporarily. Couldn't keep him down though. There's Van Dorn. This is flowing well. It's Adam Gorry. He's got Hamlet. Deflects off the post. Oh, looks a fortune there for Devonport. Bounces back into the grateful arms of Pitchford, and we're a coat of paint away from South Hobart opening the scoring. Would have been a big own goal.
Pitchford's lying on the ground.
That's a save, is it?
No, he's just lying on the ground. The ball's somehow just gone straight back into his arms and could have gone anywhere. As now back down the other end, Sison making a run, and Ludford concedes the corner. As we'll have another replay of that coming up soon, and we'll see if Pitchford got a hand and deflected it.
Well, it's an awkward old deflection here. I don't know if that camera's going to show us too much. Deflects right back into his arms.
Pitchford's
facial expression.
I don't think he did, judging by the facial expression there. I think he may have not gotten a hand to that.
That's the facial expression of pure relief there for Pitchy Pitchford.
Shocked relief.
Yeah, as it just came gently back into his arms. Here's Stone. That one's gone straight out of play. So real let off the hook there. And unlike Joel Stone, not to make a set piece count.
Yeah, poor delivery there from Stone. He's
always prefer the left footer on that side. I don't know why.
Like the in-swinger.
Much better player than that is. We'll go back to the zoomed out view. Mulroney gets a toe. Oh, I don't think he's touched that.
Nearly.
No.
He's got good reflexes, Pitchy, but
I'd claim it if I was him. Looked close enough to me.
Unfortunately, we can also see what happened there as Farrell lays on it. Deflected ball. He recovers well. That was like Farrell. And whacked high in the sky. Unintentional flick on, but Mulroney calmly sees it out. Stone wants to go the chip ball. Nearly falls to Bidwell. Thomas and Gorry between the two of them. Morton. Farrell. There's Lakoseljac on one side, Van Dorn on the other, which is where he goes. Again, battling with Dom Smith. You want to hit the byline here. Will Van Dorn turns back. Sucks in Bidwell and goes back to Gorry. Bit more patient build-up on this occasion from South. And as soon as I say that, Morton lops one forward. Hesitating on it is Fitzgerald. Havinen. Well, Toby Havinen in unfamiliar territory up there, and maybe that's the thing. And now the through ball nearly sets in Fitzgerald against Ludford. Fitzgerald trying to go the long way around. Gets on his left foot as Fitzgerald fires one. Right, saves and claims well. Good counter-attack there in the end from the strikers.
Well done, Hugh Ludford, just to body up on him, because if that was an open foot race, there was only one result. He knew he needed to get shoulder to shoulder. There was experience and nous. And that's why he's in his 9th Lakoseljac Cup final.
And he turned at the right time too. He didn't allow himself to get sucked away running towards the byline there. He turned at the right time as the cutback came in from Fitzgerald. That was very, very experienced defending from, as you rightly say, a very experienced head out there.
Well done, Graham Wright too. His first real test of the afternoon, and he answers the call. Here's Loic Farrell into the middle for Bradley Lakoseljac. Swings it out to Iski Van Dorn. He's got Gorry flying wide. And just working his way in, and then drawing the free kick, I think, is Joel Stone. Of course, members of the Lakoseljac family watching as far as Slovenia and Canada, we're told. And hope you're enjoying the broadcast on this big day for the Lakoseljac family, made, of course, all the bigger by Bradley, the number 10's involvement out there, and Brendan on the South Hobart coaching staff. A massive day for that family. Always is, and just extra special this year, the occasion for them.
Yeah, Brendan already having won one as a player, and he's Bradley attempting to continue the tradition here, and international viewers as well in Lithuania. I know Jetty Krusha was playing here the other year for Strikers, is tuning in as well. Ludford, flicked on by Morton. Hingston hasn't got a huge amount of options, and Van Dorn pressured him, forcing the mistake. Nisky Van Dorn down the right-hand side again, resuming that battle with Dom Smith. Goes inside this time, tries to play it behind for Hamlet. Mulroney sends his second one into the creek in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, being hemmed back in here, and Nisky Van Dorn, hasn't he, started this cup final brightly. He's been widely prevalent down the right-hand flank, and combining with Hamlet there. Alex Walter and Darcy Hall missing that time, injured. The arrival of the Canadian has been very timely indeed, just giving him that extra wing option. Here's Adam Gorry, 1-on-1 with Bidwell. Thanks for the support from Van Dorn, and probably lucky to get a throw in the end as he continued his run. Nick Morton the target now, draws a crowd. Later back to Gorry, punches into Hamlet, falls out the back to Lakoseljac, blocked on the line. He's a handball, the shouts go up, and Lakoseljac tonight on the line. I'd like another look at that one.
Connor Park standing on the goal line. Lakoseljac nearly with the shot, beats Pitchford, deflects off the foot. I mean,
Terry Kill all over again.
He can't do a lot with it. I mean, if that happened in the middle of the park and the ball's been whacked into you from that far out, but interestingly, next year that might be...
natural position, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And Harry should have gotten away with it too.
As this one swung in there, and Pitchford with a safe pair of hands. Great work, Connor Park got back, and really, he didn't move his arm towards the ball for mine, so I think that's a right decision. We'll have another look.
The controversy will reign.
It's been sold short, sorry to interrupt. It was inches away. Pitchford's had to whack that into the derelict grandstand of KG5, an inch away from a goal, being poached by South Hobart.
They got the game underway by stealth then, did the players. So we have another look at this one. And it was played very, very short there. Really putting Pitchford under the pressure there.
He was on his heels. Just got to the ball in time. So South looking the more likely just at the moment. The French Falcon lofts this one forward. And Hamlet with some interest, but well managed back to Pitchford. Well, we have our flashpoint of drama in the first half here, but for mine, I mean, where's he meant to move his arm? It's deflected him from a yard away. I think that's a good decision from Stratos.
Yeah, I'll completely agree with that, Andrew.
Absolutely. I think it's a technically correct decision under the rules, but it seems to me that you do see referees a lot of the time in that situation lose their bundle a bit and pay those as penalties. It's clearly hit his arm, but I am inclined to agree with you, Andrew Cooling, that it was not deliberate by any stretch of the imagination. Doesn't make it any less galling for a South Hobart fan at the moment, having a goal-bound shot hitting the arm on the line and therefore not being given. But it's Stone. He's dribbling into a bit of space here. Well held by the shape of South Hobart. Havainen does exceptionally well and just knocks it away. And South are on the counter once again. They've played it well so far.
Certainly have as Morton with the raking ball towards Van Dorn. A bit too central, but Devonport had a couple of half chances early on, but this last 15 minutes, South are starting to turn the screw a bit here. Only a magic save from Pitchford, a fluky one off the line, and then Park's stop. It really is building momentum in South Hobart's favour at this moment.
I will say for Stratos, whilst a correct decision, where's the sense of theatre? Lakoseljac to open the scoring. The script had been written, and Stratos,
with his rules,
is having none of it.
As Park heaves it back into the box. It's a bit of a competition in the box there. A high boot from Luke Farrell, but nowhere near an opposing player. Knocks the clearance away. Park again to heave it back in. You've got to say, South Hobart have clearly been on top so far, Andrew.
Yes, but unable to break through. And Devonport are a resilient side, and Max Fitzgerald Bidwell Well defended by Morton. A shirt grab there, got away with it, and they clear the area. Devonport, look, they're just hanging in there, and Iski Van Dorn looks to take on Dom Smith and burns him off. The Calgary Flyer is flying down the right wing, and he couldn't pick out Ben Hamlet with his cross, but he might get another chance. They left it for him. It's Iski Van Dorn! Deflection again, and it won't be a corner. Pitchford gets across, but the Canadian causing major headaches at the back here.
Hanging on the skin of their teeth are the strikers here. Iski Van Dorn, pace to burn. Dom Smith thought he was running out of play and running out of room. Not on that occasion. That's heaved forward. The strikers just need to get their foot on the ball and play it a bit more the way they want the game. South Hobart are imposing their will on them at this moment. And I'll be shocked if South Hobart don't finally break through here soon. Gorry will take the throw in on the far side eventually. And so figure out which ball he's going to use. He likes to go down the line. Bidwell will knock it out and gain South 10 yards as the quietest of the 32 minutes we've had from the crowd here. A hush has descended across KG5. Morton flicks it onto Van Dorn. Iski. There's a few options here. One is Hamlet, goes over his head. He only falls to Berezanski. Pitchford, he's electing to keep it in at all times here. He's got his two pacey customers, and look how deep South Hobart's defence is sitting. Ludford and Thomas, as soon as Pitchford gets the ball, they drop 20 yards.
Yep, it's been going according to plan for that man so far. Ken Morton will be delighted with this first 33 minutes, despite the fact his side haven't got the breakthrough. Fitzgerald trying to make something happen. It's going to be a goal kick here for the Scotsman. Graham Wright made the one save of note, but otherwise reasonably untested. Big talking point out of the first half. The handball, or was it handball, on the line. There's Graham Wright. Smashes this one wide. Looking for Lakoseljac. Beat Syson in the air, but it fell to Stone, who just brings down Morton. Bit of a crude move there.
A crude move, one that Riley Dillon would be utterly proud of, I reckon.
You learned a thing or two off him, perhaps. There's Stone mimicking Stone Cold, and that'll be... Oh, dear, that's Fitzgerald. And if Devonport do win, he will miss the round of 32 for that. I think I wrote exactly that in my preview, didn't I?
Yep.
We don't want what a tragedy it would be for someone to miss a big final for something stupid like that, but he's given the ref no choice.
I'll raise you another one. It's still a stupid rule.
It is, but...
That's so harsh.
Slice of cheese for that, and that is now going to put him in the Kane Pearce tier, should they win this one. Well, missing finals for just reasons you should not.
You could see the passion in his reaction as well. He knew it. He knew it.
He just stepped in, Max Fitzgerald.
It's up to him now to put in a huge shift for the rest of his team to make through. Roy Keane a la Juventus. 1990 Champions League semi-final-esque is what he needs.
I'll get you there. So, that's big, but 35 minutes. I have to say, South have looked the more likely of the two sides to qualify. Plenty to play for, though. This going to be a real arm wrestle as it develops, I reckon. Oscar Thomas, the giraffe, heads away. And on to Gorry. Hamlet ahead of him. Well done, Mulroney. Defending stoutly as ever. Dom Smith now on the right. Shifts it down the line. Looking for Eddie Bidwell. Throw in. Go South Hobart's way as Giraffe defers to Gorry. 10 minutes left in the first half here. It's just lulled a little bit. It's been a pretty good tempo to the first half. A good pace about the game, but slowing down a tad for the time being. Van Dorn is really getting the better of Dom Smith in that matchup. He's just rolling him over. South, you feel a sensing that and trying to really get at his feet as often as they can. And just backing him to take on Dom Smith. Reliable defender in his own right, but he's having a torrid old time of it just now. Iski Van Dorn looking like a game breaker. Hamlet in the air, but Mulroney always likely to win that. Joel Stone been very busy in midfield, and it's a fairly errant pass on this occasion.
Yeah, on the contrary, Fitzgerald's been trying to get in behind that space between Berezanski and Avine, and they've done pretty good job at just shifting between the two of them, preventing that occurring, and then Havainen is pushing on as well. Morton looks up, has Hamlet short. Now to Fitzgerald, who stayed forward. Loic Farrell doing well. They're trying to get a sense of urgency here going, the strikers. Fitzgerald, Ludford. They want the foul, not given. Dogger Brown to his feet as always. We saw him come onto the field the other week in the Cup semi-final. Let's hope he's a little more restrained with the technical area. And that's heaved forward. Hingston battling with Hamlet. Park. They'll do well probably here just to throw it back and maybe recycle it, but they're intent on going forward. The strikers, Havainen, whacks it into their bench. Park looking for Giampoli, who's barely had a touch in this first half. Here he is, showing his foot skills. Salad artist can't get round Farrell, and even concedes the throw-in.
Neither side are really looking to play too much up the centre of the ground, are they? It's really looking to be played through the wings this game, and at the moment, standout on the wing has got to be Iski Van Dorn out the other side. There's a bit of pushing and shoving going on up here, which Plomaritas sees fit to pop in and have a bit of a chat to them. Just inserting himself into the proceedings.
Unsurprising, Morton's one of the players there as well as Syson.
So here's Hugh Ludford, Toby Havainen, and Morton. Syson and Ignacio just work him over and win the ball. Fitzgerald inside to Joel Stone. Stone back to Ignacio Giampoli. Well done, Oscar Thomas. The giraffe with a foot in. Syson again. Swings it over the top. It's a dangerous looking ball, but it was always going to pick up speed off the wet surface. And skids behind for a goal kick only.
Pretty soon they're going to land one of those balls that they've looked to play in over the top between the right back and the right centre back there, Will Devonport, and I think there's going to be big trouble for South Hobart when they do. It's not really been so much as good defending that's stopped them from working so far, but rather just a lack of execution from Devonport, and that's something that you cannot rely on continuing.
Yeah, you get the feeling they know Adam Gorry's going to go marauding forward so often they want to hit him in behind, although Gorry's going to try and do some damage at the other end of the park, and he feeds it into an offside Iski Van Dorn, who's a bit surprised, as was I. I thought he just held up, but the flag raised and in pretty well perfect position. There was Nathan Coate to make the call.
Right in front of it was the referee.
Still, that goal could have looked a bit better with a mullet there. You say he's all business these days, but I've always been a big fan of mixing business and pleasure. I think we should be seeing a bit of that from Nathan Coate as the ball is thumped high and wide again for the 67th throw-in of the game from in front of the South Hobart technical area. Thrown back onto the chest of Loic Farrell, who just lumps it towards a diving Ben Hamlet. And they'll fall away with the ball here, South. Some great feet. Oh, that's one for the highlight reel there from Lakoseljac. But they just can't quite get the move going with Raph Reynolds committing hard.
Headed away by Ludford. Farrell over the top of Stone and now pounced upon by Max Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald with the chip! Trying to catch out right was Max Fitzgerald. And it was a clever effort. Right hand straight off his line of fraction and not too far away from what would have been an inspired opening goal.
Almost thought that shaved the post for a second, but I think that my eyes were vibrating from the sheer ambition of the shot there. That was marvellous stuff there from Fitzgerald, trying to make a name for himself after that unfortunate card earlier on.
Strong header from Lakoseljac in midfield. And then Morton gets pushed in the back by Hingston. Well, no, he doesn't apparently. Stone now forward to Giampoli. Van Dorn working back, one away. Oscar Thomas. Here's the Morthog Morton. Drops it off for Adam Gorry, bursting forward again. And Hamlet won't get on the end of this one. Played the early ball rather than feeding his winger.
They've just managed to settle it down the last 5 minutes. Have the strikers. We haven't seen Van Dorn doing any of his penetrating runs against Smith. Starting to have a little more possession as Stone wants to exchange passes with Giampoli. Well covered by Gorry. And a foul is given by Farrell on Joel Stone. He's pleading that it was a dive. Almost seemed to be very graceful. It was Milwaukee Knights coach James Sherman watches on.
Love to get him in for a free kick.
Yeah, he'd love this. He'd love one from this kind of position.
I reckon even when he's coaching, he should just sub himself on for free kicks. I'd advocate that kind of a policy from the General Sherman. It's going to be Joel Stone, who's shown he's quite adept over the dead ball himself. Scored an absolute stunner from a set piece against Olympia. This one swung to the back post, headed back to the top of the box. Gorry away, but Bidwell played it back in right. Should be able to get to this one, and does so comfortably enough. So I reckon if this keeps up too much longer, we'll see Miles Barnard introduced pretty early in the second half. I think Devonport might want to switch it up a bit. Bring the Fox in the box on, give him that aerial presence. Giampoli hasn't been involved much. He's been isolated. I think they'll drop him back a bit deeper perhaps. And don't be surprised if they shuffle things around in the second half.
He looks a bit better when he's got a bit more space to move in, Giampoli, because he's... Well, I'd go as far as to say he's probably the best dribbler in the state. He's a pretty marvellous player in those kind of areas, and a bit of hold-up play, which I saw them working on in the warm-up with the Fox in the box, Devonport. So I think he'll be looking to hold up play for them, agreed, later on in the second half.
Farrell takes this one quickly down the line for hammer time. Hamlet jinks in onto the right, plays it in, steered away by Smith. Farrell up against his opposite numbers. Giampoli did well, and then Havainen just blasted on out of there. And had potential to be an awkward one for Pitchford, but judged it nicely.
A very high limbo bar, Pitchford, trying to get underneath that one.
Is very unnecessary and puts your heart in your mouth, doesn't it?
That's just keeper shenanigans.
Always necessary.
Got to be doing that. I say that's highly necessary.
They're a unique breed, you got to remember, these goalkeepers.
Until it hits one of them on the hand and they concede the corner.
Yeah, until that moment, then you can crow. As Park takes it down the line. Not on the same page there as Fitzgerald, who was not making that run. With about a minute plus change left before half-time. South will feel they probably could well be in front heading into the half, but Devonport, they're a disciplined defence. They're a well-organised unit. We've seen that again today. So often it is a recipe for cup success. A solid defence. Morton up against Leonidas there in Hingston. Joel Stone skips free and some good pace. And chinks back inside. Lost his footing. Just allowed Nick Morton in. Morton moves it quickly to Farrell. And like Farrell wants to hit Iski Van Dorn, but played it straight to Dom Smith. Immediately launched it forward. Volleyed up by Fitzgerald. Then Lakoseljac won it away from Sison. A real ugly up and under. And a bit more of that. Some aerial ping pong for the time being. Iski Van Dorn leaves it behind. And then wide for Gorry. And they'll reload down the right south. Gorry trying to pick out Hamlet. Broken up by Dom Smith. Stone. Cross for Connor Parker, who's going to burst forward. Fitzgerald will make a run to the channel for him. That's where he heads. Dinks it over there, and Havainen nods into touch as we've ticked into added time, of which there will be 1 minute.
Necessary header there, Havainen. Fitzgerald goes to ground, and Stratos Tomaridis gives the decision. One last chance of this half will most likely fall to the strikers. Raf Reynolds, the centre-back, who takes most set pieces.
If you're going to be pedantic as a ref, you probably could offer a cheese there to Ludford, who has just booted the ball half the ground away there. Clear couple of seconds after that free's been given. Do not think they want to risk the opportunity of another chance coming the way of Devonport here, South. It'd be a little bit stiff to not have the lead, as you just touched on earlier, Andrew, but this set piece is a dangerous, dangerous spot for them. Raf Reynolds.
Reynolds looks like he's going to take it. Fitzgerald also buzzing about. Geez, they've got some tall timber to pick out in here, the strikers, as Reynolds hands it up to the back post. Just got far too much on it, and just wasteful, really, that from the Canadian.
It always seems, as we often say in commentary at Slice of Cheese, that the longer the build-up towards the set piece, the more disappointing they tend to be.
And the more we talk it up as well.
The less actually happens, and we're locked at 0-0 at half-time. It's been an arm wrestle of a game. South have definitely had the better of it. They'd be the happier of the two sides going into the sheds, but Devonport can console themselves with the fact that they haven't conceded. They're back level at 0-0 with them, and they did seem to get more of a foothold as the half wore on, but I don't think it'll be too long before we get a fox sighting here at KG5.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. South Hobart had the majority of the possession and dominated that middle section of that half. A few fortunate moments for the Strikers. And the deflection off the post. Pitchford with a good save from Hamlet. Strikers not really having too many clear-cut chances. South are probably the more disappointed of the sides. But as mentioned, I think there will be a fox coming out in the second half.
Yeah, we'll see if Coghlan opts to persevere with this or whether he'll change some things. He's deep in conversation with Kieran Mulroney and Todd Hingston, two of the senior bodies, two of the real leaders of this team. I don't think he'd be thrilled with that first 45. They've just put together the defending champions, but as we've said, they're yet to concede, so that is a crucial factor. There's only been one goal in the previous two deciders between these teams. It might just be all it takes again today. So we'll leave you with the highlights of the first half and be back in around about 10 minutes. All still to play for in the 2019 Lakoseljac Cup final.
And just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, spectators are not permitted on the playing arena at any time. Spectators are also reminded that they must abide.
There's a couple of bodies in the middle, but a poor cross. Second cross comes in. Save from Pitchford there, I think. Just stopping it, get across the face. Some great early pressure.
Ken Morton has swung a bit of a tactical surprise here today. Ben Hamlet from range. Oh, good purchase. And an early test for Pitchford. Sorry to bend this one in. He goes near post. Hamlet was there, and it spills out the back to Pitchford. And he shuts that one down comfortably. Pitchford, of course, absolutely outstanding for so long for South Hobart. Here's Nick Morton trying to catch Pitchford out with a swinging cross to the back stick. Park leading today. The two have been the premier right backs of the comp the last couple of years. Joel Stone now turning on a dime and swinging across here for Sison. Brings it down. Sison couldn't quite pick out the far post. A dinked effort, not far away. Today, the two have been the premier right backs of the comp the last couple of years. Joel Stone now turning on a dime and swinging across here for Sison. Brings it down. Sison couldn't quite pick out the far post. A dinked effort, not far away. Morton to Hamlet, back to the Morthog Morton. Hamlet looking to soldier into the box on the left. He drew a very sharp save from Pitchford. Berezanski with a really intelligent ball. Picks out Nick Morton, first time cross. Mulroney shanks the clearance a little, and behind for a corner it goes.
Wood South, that's into the mixer. Pitchford appealing for it. Farrell, and eventually the foul has been called.
Chaos in the box.
Gerald. He's got Ludford for company. Goes to the near post. It's fallen. Oh, and the back heel attempt! It was really a back heel attempted pass to Stone.
Out Morton there. Joel Stone hustling and bustling away in his customary fashion. He's just run it out of play there. And Luke Farrell
almost really, as it were.
As Berezanski skips into some space here and he just chips one into pitch. That may be the first time this derelict venue's ever been referred to as Bidwell. I was out of play, Hamlet. And Bidwell with a bit of pushing and shoving.
Here we go.
No need for anything silly. Of course, opening 20 here. Sison trying to shake free of some close attention. Does really well. Sison with Bidwell's header. Couldn't quite direct it. Joel Stone. Then Dawn. This is flowing well. It's Adam Gorry. He's got Hamlet. Deflects off the post. Oh, looks a fortune there for Devonport. Bounces back
around. Gets on his left foot as Fitzgerald fires one. Right saves and claims well. Good counter attack there in the end from the striker.
Swings it out to Iski Van Dorn. He's got Gorry flying wide and just working his way in. Punches into Hamlet, falls out the back to Lakoseljac, locked on the line. He's at handball. The shouts go up, and Lakoseljac denied on the right decision. We'll have another look.
The controversy will
it's been sold short. Sorry to interrupt. That was inches away. Pitchford's had to whack that into the derelict's grandstand of KG5, an inch away from a goal.
He might get another chance. They left it for him. It's Iski Van Dorn. Deflection again. And it won't be a corner. Pitchford gets across, but the Canadian.
Iski. There's a few options here. One is Hamlet, goes over his head. He only falls to Berezanski. Pitchford, he's electing to keep it in at all.
This one wide. Looking for Lakoseljac. Beat Sison in the air, but it fell to Stone, who just brings down Morton. Bit of a crude move there. You learned a thing or two off him, perhaps. There's Stone mimicking Stone Cold, and that'll be... Oh, dear, that's Fitzgerald, and if Devonport do win, he will miss the round of 32 for that. I think I wrote it... slowing down a tad for the time being. Van Dorn is really getting the better of Dom Smith in that matchup. He's just rolling him behind. Although Gorry's going to try and do some damage at the other end of the park, and he feeds it into an offside Isky Van Dorn, who's a bit surprised, as was I.
Ben Hamlet. And they'll fall away with the ball here, South. Some great feet. Oh, that's one for the highlight reel there from Lakoseljac. But they just can't quite get the move going.
Farrell over the top of Stone, and now pounced upon by Max Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald with the chip! Trying to catch out right was Max.
That unfortunate card earlier on.
Strong header from Lakoseljac in midfield. And then Morton gets pushed in the back by Hingston. Well, no, he doesn't apparently. Hold Morton. Drops it off for Adam Gorry, bursting forward again. And Hamlet won't get on the end of this one. Played the early ball rather than...
Jampoli, well covered by Gorry. And a foul is given by Farrell on Joel Stone. He's pleading that it was a dive.
South Hobart.
2019.
Yeah. So something about teleground announcer. So we're just about ready to get back underway. We'll see if there have been any tactical tweaks made in the sheds. Rick Coughlin was deep in conversation with Mulroney and Hingston heading into the break. See if they change things up at all. South Hobart definitely had the better of the first half, but nothing to show for it. And that's been a bit of a familiar tale. They had the better of their game against them in the league back in April. Couldn't convert their chances, and they're a dangerous foe to leave lying around.
Yeah, they certainly are. They held in, sometimes by the barest of margins that first half. Did the Strikers. We'll see if they tweak anything in the second half. South, we saw where their good outlets were, and they really need to just capitalise on them as they go in that Van Dorn direction from the kickoff in the second half of the Lakoseljac Cup final. Hingston rising high. Sison to Adam Gorry, the former Strikers player. Back out to Dom Smith, who's had a pretty torrid time of it in that first half against Van Dorn. Look at Fitzgerald sprinting, putting right under pressure. And he clears it as far as King Leonidas in Hingston, who only really finds Tobias Savinen.
Just moved it off to the flanks there, did he? Gave the ball away. And nearly a beautiful ball there through for the B-man, Berezanski. Going to need to come up with a more fitting nickname for that young man, because that name is a mouthful.
And it's a long one, isn't it? And there's another long throw from the Strikers. Connor Park out on that far sideline. Berezanski, Hamlet clattered into from Reynolds. Still going is Berezanski. Park uses his body well. Copped the deflection straight into him. Hamlet tries the ambitious shot. Hits it over the top. Does Ben Hammer time at Ben 10 Hamlet. Good early warning shot across the bow already.
There's the natural light all faded out now. All artificial light at this stage. Slight delay to kick off with the 20s going to penalties, so a slightly later start than expected. And into the darkness we play here. It's Lakoseljac nodding into the middle. Here's Iski Van Dorn. Had a fantastic first half. Adam Gorry bombing on, and he slides it through for Morton. Let it run, just trying to catch Mulroney out. Squared the ball. Hamlet gets it under his spell. Iski Van Dorn, snapshot, deflects, shouts for a penalty, turned aside. Nothing doing, says Stratos. They went up.
Look a great deal in it. So we won't quite get another look at that one just yet, because South are getting things going pretty quickly. Young man Berezanski muscled out of play there by Connor Park.
Yeah, it was a slightly ungainly clearance from the Strikers in that handball shout. And Sison is up against Farrell. Whacked forward. Bidwell giving chase against Gorry, and I certainly think the sideline's going to beat both of them. Good energy there from Eddie Bidwell. Giampoli still appears to be playing up top for the moment. Hingston misjudging a header. Rear-siding that. Hamlet. And there's Van Dorn for company. Does Hammer time. Shields his body well. Fortunately, Mulroney manages to clear. Bidwell. Charging down the line. Joel Stone, good running in front there from Luke Farrell. Smart defence. And cuts it back unnecessarily towards the Strikers, and they'll get the foul awarded to them, the Strikers. Their first chance to press in this second half.
An opportunity over the dead ball. Daniel Sison strides across to deliver this one. Devonport looking a little bit of momentum in this contest. South definitely had the better in the first half, but the game at Darcy Street was a bit of a game of two halves, and it's not often Devonport are second best for two halves in a match. So Daniel Sison stands it up. It's a great looking ball. Right, fumbles this onto the head of Havine, unfortunately for the Scotsman. Made a bit of a meal of that. Berezanski now wafting it, but couldn't find Nick Morton, and pouncing on that was Max Fitzgerald.
Jeez.
Rolled it back to Fitzgerald. Reynolds. Toe away from Fitz.
The control on the head there from Havana after Graham Wright had dropped that sitter was really marvellous, and could be leading to his team being on a break now. But it doesn't, because Joel Stone has hauled down young Bradley Lakoseljac. And there's a bit of a flag, question on the flag, and yes, offside there. A country mile, I think, from Nick Morton, if I can see it from this angle. But that sitter was really marvellous. And another load of this sliding challenge. I think he did win the ball there, because he has a good old point at it too.
Well, he's got a case there, Joel Stone. I mean, even if it was wrong, if he had got the legs, that would have been his reaction to the referee, but absolutely justified with his argument there, I think, was Joel Stone, who was everywhere in midfield for the Strikers in the first half, covering an awful lot of ground back there. Real key man in this team, Joel Stone, as this one's flicked on by Fitzgerald. Giampoli, away by Ludford. This will come down with snow on it. Standing underneath it was Hingston, and he showed good strength, but he lost it in the end to Van Dorn. Iski Van Dorn, Joel Stone picks his pocket and skips past Lakoseljac, then slides it through for Eddie Bidwell. Eddie Bidwell running a Gorry here, squares it looking for Giampoli. The Argentine treads on the ball, falls for Bidwell. Steered away by Oscar the Giraffe Thomas, as it all just disappears in the corner for a second, and
there could have been some real controversy there, Andrew, because as that through ball is played through to Bidwell, we have both gone up in arms there, Paul Hunt and I, and claimed the offside.
Speaking of going down, it's Fitzgerald and Ludford have both hit the deck. They collided, and Ludford was trying to play him offside, or play Bidwell offside. Ludford, in stepping up, just careered into Fitzgerald. They're both still down on their haunches. Hopefully it's nothing more than a winding between them. But as you rightly say, Jake, we both had our left arms in the air for offside. Not given on this occasion. And now there'll be a lull in play while both players are assessed.
Well, the mullet of infallibility was in the correct spot. So, despite my initial reaction, I'd be inclined to back him in there, as we see Mr. Lancaster getting out there and dealing out a bit of treatment. The well-known and well-liked physio from South Hobart.
Hope Hugh Ludford will be right to continue. Jack Bowman, and likely a replacement if they need to look to the bench, but I think Ludford will be right to go on. They'd quite like to have him defending this set piece though, and they'll try and rush him back on. But they're going to get the chance here, as Max Fitzgerald's just limping down the sideline at the moment. So, the walking wounded. Long throw will be taken. Flicked on by Sison. Comfortable enough for Graham Wright. And he'll just hold up and wait for some bodies to get forward. Drops it off for Loic Farrell, who's just temporarily slid into Ludford's centre-back position. Morton. Havinen striding forward. Ran to a brick wall in Leonidas there. Fitzgerald. Bidwell. Turned into a little bit of trouble, then played a fairly aimless ball forward. Right with the early release, looking for Hamlet. Mulroney surely be favoured here, and just reached the foot round and won it. Stop moving. As Kingston gives it back to Mulroney. Stone spins out of trouble, but spun into even more trouble. Sissy Van Dorn was there. Bidwell, clever ball to Stone. Trot on it though. And Bidwell is ropeable at the lack of a decision. Gesticulating wildly.
Rick Coughlin's being his stunt double on that occasion as well, down in front. Both ropeable at that decision, and I think they do have a case.
He's so furious that he's breakdancing there, Eddie Bidwell. Like a frog in a sock there, he was fuming.
I don't even know what
and
that
the collisions are just going on and on here.
Tom Smith riding Iski Van Dorn there temporarily.
Calgary's known for its rodeo, but Dom Smith has really got the wrong idea there. As hopefully some vague normality will return to this game. And Van Dorn looking for Hamlet down the line. I think that's gone out of play. And a chaotic last minute or so here in the Lakoseljac Cup final, as we see some umbrellas being popped up on the far side into rain.
He's been holding off for a while, but looks like the heaven's about to open up once again. We'll be in for a wet second half here at KG5. Gorry nods forward. Smith with a fresh air swing. Having his best day, Dom Smith, although he's going to get a free kick here, which will relieve a little bit of pressure. As the rain, you can see, is starting to come down quite heavily. As Smith stands over this one. Swing it long. Giampoli the target. Oscar Thomas repels only as far as Joel Stoney. Drives forward, not cleared. Falls to Eddie Bidwell. Bidwell, Gorry stopped it. A real scrap here. Spinning with Giampoli. And the quick release was good, but not enough to beat Graham Wright. He had Fitzgerald in a little bit of space there. Might have been an option, but I don't blame him for going for goal. As
He could have been a stunt double in Black Swan with the pirouetting that he pulled off there, did Giampoli. It's a bit surprising, though, that they've continued to stick with him as a sort of false nine. Come striker at this stage, though, Devonport. Could be looking for a bit of hold-up players. A great ball comes out here to Van Dorn. He's got a couple in the middle. Well punched away there by Pitchy Pitchford. Only falls to Morton. And a big shout for a handball comes up as well from the South Hobart fans.
right in the face, I think, as this one's worked wide. The pressure will continue. Risky Van Dorn now on it. He's looked threatening, Van Dorn. He's cross-charged down. And Mulroney acrobatically away. Van Dorn looking to take on Dom Smith at every opportunity, but Smith just outpoints him this time. Although, doesn't clear the area. Van Dorn making an absolute nuisance of himself. And a goal kick will be, a corner. So he's done very, very well.
Pitchford's whacked that one into just about into Anthill Street. Fitzgerald, well, he got the yellow. Floodford maybe could have got one as well. Pitchy hasn't got one.
Pitchford doesn't deliberately overhit the ball by 20 metres, Blomeritis. I dare say that probably should have been a slice for the keeper there, but it's going to allow the opportunity for a bit more drama as it's curled in a long way deep and headed away pretty comfortably there, I think, from Mulroney. It could have been Park, but either way, no danger for Devonport in that situation.
Well, some danger. Oscar Thomas all on his own there. Couldn't quite reach it with his height as the turn and cross to the back post will be easily clasped by Pitchford. And how's the release there? That's like Glenn McGrath on his prime. Just picks his spot, puts it out in front of Eddie Bidwell. He's got a head full of steam. And he weaves one way then the other, and Gorry gets away with it. Joel Stone, he'll want to shoot here. He tries to bend it for the far post, and he can't quite match his quarter-final efforts there.
Daniel Sison has every reason to be giving Joel Stone an earful for that one, and we know Joel Stone scored that wonder goal from a similar range in the quarter-final. Sison had about 20 yards of space on the far side. He wanted it played early. That ball didn't leave the 18-yard box. Our favourite referee, Nathan Code, has correctly called that one. Personally, can't wait till that rule stopped next year, but for the moment, and is still enforced. It's Ludford. Heaves one down the line. Park knocks it to Fitzgerald, who has been kept relatively quiet today, especially in the second half. Hamlet run after this one in front of Mulroney. Sison trying to find some space. Lakoseljac comes back. Gorry with a big up and under. Will fall to Morton. Can he put his foot on the ball, the Morthog? Instead, he just puts it out of play.
Been reasonably quiet in this half so far, has the Morthog. Perhaps just not quite copping enough abuse from the crowd. It always seems to get the best out of him. If I was a South Hobart fan on that other side, I'd almost give him a belittling just to get the best out of him. But certainly one of the best players in the state and looking to push on and get a win here as he's on the ball. A couple of players out in front. Plays a beautiful reverse to Berezanski. He's got a couple for company there and a good sliding challenge there. Textbook from Mulroney.
South looking to push here. If both managers considering their options on the bench. Someone better call the Fox Safety Task Force. There's a Fox sighting on the near touchline, just going through his paces, running up and down. So I think he may be injected into this one imminently.
Well, there's 50 million for the state government to blow, so...
Yep. Send it out to KG5, guys.
Send it this way.
Send it to Bion Stream. We'll have the vision of him. We'll get you some live Fox vision very soon, I suspect, as this one's going to be brought back for a free kick. And that'll just release the pressure valve momentarily. So he's running through his paces. Not seeing Darcy Hall doing anything on the south bench, but I do expect we'll see him play a part. I guess with the threat of extra time, you can't introduce him too early because you don't really want him out there for an hour, which is a possibility if he was to come on this early. And to be honest, Berezanski's having a fine game out wide. Van Dorn's doing well wide. Probably no real need to make the switch anyway.
No, I'd certainly agree with that. I'm just trying to think if the Fox wants to come on, who would come off for the strikers. They would then overload the midfield. Would they take Giampoli off? Maybe Hingston hasn't played a lot in the last month or so. He'd be the most likely person to come off. As we've got a really extended delay here. Pitchford looks frankly bored on the screen. Back in the centre, Stratos is having a word with, I think, Tobias Havainen. In the end, all comes to naught. And Pitchford finally get the game back underway with a low ball that Hingston will put some air underneath. Sison rising well. Lakoseljac to Van Dorn. Gorry intercepted from Stone. He'll do well to play in Bidwell down the line, but runs out of touch. There's Joel Stone, another player who won't mind the Bronx cheers from the South Hobart faithful.
It all adds a little bit more to the atmosphere, especially when players like Stone and like Morton can respond to the crowd getting involved.
Van Dorn.
Great bit of bodywork there from Van Dorn, and the cheeky backheeled nutmeg as well. Pity he couldn't get onto that one. Some lovely skill and strength there from the Canadian.
Lovely bit of work there from the Calgary Flyer. There's Lakoseljac for company, but he'll flick towards Van Dorn. Up and under from Mulroney. It'll be Gorry, who is forced to trot back. They've been very strict today on the creeping forward from throw-ins in all the 3 games we've had here today at KG5. There's Wright. Leaves this one forward. Hingston should be able to comfortably collect that one. Stone charging down the right. Fitzgerald thought he'd make a run. He tried to step over on Farrell. He doesn't get the decision either, Joel Stone. Farrell will cede the throw-in to Havainen. He'll go down the line towards Morton. Not really playing it too much on the deck, especially this second half here. Doing a bit of more aerial work than we're used to seeing from both sides. Down the line towards Morton. He was trying to backheel that one. Hingston drops the shoulder, stuck in a South Sandwich, and he wins the foul. In the end, as King Leonidas, he seems to be tiring a tad out there. Does the Strikers defensive mid.
Haven't played a lot of football lately as Hingston, as Pitchford punches this one down the line, looking for Fitzgerald. He'll give his all here. Swings it back to Raph Reynolds. Now Hingston. Coughed it up to Lakoseljac, and now Nick Morton turns and he's off to the races here, the Morthog. I'm not really sure what that was. Caught in 2 minds, I think there, Morton. And just punched it straight to Pitchford, who gleefully says, I'll have that, and then absolutely launches this one long.
Almost trying the Brett Holman World Cup 2010 there, just trying to get it to skid off the surface a little bit was Nick Morton, but he's really going to struggle to beat a keeper with the skill of Pitchy Pitchford from range like that, especially when you connect that way. And that rain is really starting to increase a little bit. Certainly pretty happy with the position that we've got in the ground as Fitzgerald now. He's got an overlap on the other side in Stone, and it comes through to Stone, just defended, and the shot from distance is bashed over the top by Fitzgerald after some brilliant work from Joel Stone.
Prime chance this. Gorry miscontrols, lets in Stone. Gorry then just blasts it straight into Stone, and this was it. Fitzgerald, it's sat for him, and he just drove it high into the night sky.
Got to give
driving rain.
A bit of credit there to Oscar Thomas, because he got back onto the line into the back corner that he was looking to aim for.
It's coming in sideways here now.
We usually see this at Darcy Street on the foot of the mountain, and all of a sudden behind the grandstand it's coming in sideways in this rain. Gorry beats Bidwell. It's going to be a slick surface out there for these players. I've already seen one umbrella bite the bullet out in the sideline. There's the long throw heaved down the line. Stone to Bidwell. Will they play the 1-2? Jampoli, the opposite number 6. Luke Farrell comes back, challenges well. Berezanski has under-hit that one towards Van Dorn. That's a foul from behind. Surely no! Despite Stones before. Stratos has seen that as play on. Reynolds with the mistake. Nick Morton in on goal, trying to get on the line. Nick Morton with the shot. Morton save Pitchford onto the top of the net. He stood tall, Pitchford. There's a good save from the Strikers keeper.
Starting to see why you two have labelled that man clearly the best keeper in the state, because that is clearly the best save that I've seen today. Brilliant work after the error here from Raph Reynolds. Just let it slide through his legs in the rain. And Morthog, trying to find his way back onto his right, only forced himself down a bigger alley And on to the non-preferred.
And they did a good job forcing him wide there, the Strikers' defence. Really getting him on the non-preferred, confident that Pitchford would close down the angle, and he did. And he's a tough man to beat, Pitchy Pitchford. And he's been a pillar of strength again today for his side. He's had to answer the call on a few occasions, and that he has done. In swinging corner, headed away. Jampoli mistimes his clearance, lets in Hamlet. Spills to Berezanski. That was charged down. Adam Gorry now. Gorry just punches it straight into Bidwell. Bidwell, and they're on the break here, the Strikers. Jampoli combining with Bidwell. Bidwell out to Joel Stone. Stone running here at Iski Van Dorn, and the Canadian winger turns defender. A bit ungainly at the end, but that's a huge stop.
Don't necessarily be criticising Joel Stone for not releasing that ball either, because Giampali was about 2 metres offside there up ahead of him. So not a selfish play by any means to take Van Dorn on, but well played Van Dorn to take him on.
Deflects into the path of Toby Havainen. He sets it out in front of Berezanski. Won't quite be able to track this one down. And the driving rain just adding to the drama. Much like those famous FFA Cup games at Valley Road. Just feel like the rain really adds to the atmosphere, if not the spectator experience.
Yeah, well, if there was a fully enclosed suitable grandstand, I wouldn't mind it. As that's down the line towards Hamlet, sliding in. They should win the throw-in, should the Strikers. But on this artificial surface,
I can't hear it over this crash I've got next to me.
It'll be a slick surface. As one day we'll have a confined media box in the prawn sandwich area of KG5. That one's heaved out of play. And just be thankful it's not like the 2017 FFA Cup where we were on ground level on the far side. And Ludford makes that one clear. Hingston. Jampoli contends well as the diminutive striker. Berezanski can't quite get it under control. Look at the backspin on that. And the wet on the far side. Strikers take it quickly. High in the air from Havainen. Fitzgerald, he's gone full Nigel de Jong there on Hugh Ludford.
Jeez.
Leading with the foot and gets a slice of cheese for his trouble. Wasn't the most delightful attempted jump there from Jampoli. Going in knee first.
Yeah, at least it was Nuds.
I thought it was Studs there to start with.
So it didn't quite go full de Jong, as your reference. And a yellow card issued to the diminutive Argentine.
Football's home adjective, isn't it? Diminutive, only ever used in this field.
Absolutely is. This one's 4-4 in the air. Away goes Toby Havainen. Berezanski trying to keep it in there. As we've gone halfway through the second half, it's starting to look like it might be another one of those cup finals where one goal will be enough. It's just a matter of can anyone conjure it. Both teams yet to go to their respective benches. It's like a Seljac trying to make something happen here. The Strikers will take it back though. Connor Park ran into Ludford. South Hobart's throw to be taken by Havainen. You see the rainfall there. Quite steady. Here's Morton drawing a crowd. Push forward to Hamlet. First time ball. It was a good one to Berezanski. Cut out by Dom Smith. And Smith has just spied Eddie Bidwell in a little bit of room, trying to get back out the other way on Gorry. It's Eddie Bidwell running at Gorry, and Gorry read it beautifully. And sees it behind for a corner. Another chance for the Strikers, who have been much better in the second half.
Yeah, they've looked a bit sturdier in defence as well. Still that transition into attack hasn't quite worked off yet. But you can see there's a bit more intent, a bit more directness. Bidwell's found a bit more space, as well as it'll be the salad artist, Daniel Sison, to take this corner kick. The KG5 house end. It's the customary two hands in the air and goes towards the back post. Rising high was Mulroney. He's hit that high, wide, and not so handsome as the captain. As below, I spot a Fox, who's actually not running for the subs. He's running for the change room. Got all excited there.
I think we're going to see him pretty soon. South Hobart readying a change as well. Looks like Darcy Hall might be set to come on and play a role. That's out wide or centrally, we'll see. Hingston away from Morton. Smith down, Lakoseljac Did it well. Worked it towards to Hamlet and then cleared away by Mulroney. It looks like South Hobart are going to inject their number 9, Darcy Hall. He looked in really sizzling touch earlier this year before being derailed by injuries. He hasn't played for a while, but from all reports was pretty explosive on the training track on the weekend. And he comes on for the 16-year-old Sam Berezanski, who's put in a tremendous shift that has belied his years.
Absolutely. First half, especially that first 20 minutes, he came in strong. Berezanski, to be playing on the stage like this at such a young age, it's a full credit to him, and he's got many years ahead.
There'll be more physicality to come too from the lad, I think. He'll get a little bit bigger and a bit stronger and start to outmuscle blokes like Park in the coming years. So, brilliant game from him. It's a good competitive little streak pops up in the midfield here. Stone trying to take on half the South Hobart team. He manages to get it back to Smith, but a poor touch from that man. And Iski Van Dorn heaves it back to Benjamin Hamlet. Straight away, he gets on his bike every time, doesn't he, Hamlet? Ready to pull the centre-backs out of space. It's the type of striker that you love to play with when you're a midfielder because they make the space for you.
Just relentless. He does not stop running. Whether in possession, making a run for a teammate, or out of possession, charging down a central defender. Which brings a frenetic energy as Adam Gorry did pretty well. And then that was a really smart Fitzgerald foul to just lean back on the legs, claps him down. I reckon he meant this, Fitzgerald, at the end of it.
And the South Hobart fans right in front of the incident want a slice of cheese and therefore a red card for it as Adam Gorry had a bit of space to run in and, just accidentally decided to roll over a bit there.
Fell into the legs.
Vince Fitzgerald.
He's a smart operator. He knew what he was doing. He knew he wasn't going to get booked for that. It's an
Clear
accident,
slip,
referee.
boys. You are cynics. That was a clear slip.
Maybe initially. I'm saying that was intelligent play, but it does present the free kick for Adam Gorry. And he swings it in looking for the giraffe Oscar Thomas. Couldn't quite find him. Played back into Hamlet! Just past the post from Hammer time, Hamlet. He wasn't far away. I don't think there would have been much Pitchford could have done about that.
That's the near post area where Hamlet likes to lurk the most. It's where he does his best work. The South Hobart striker couldn't quite wrap his body around quickly enough to aim it on goal. Pitchford, as you say, getting a few Bronx cheers from behind his goal. Stone leaves it for Hingston. Ludford had just casually dropped 10 yards there and knew exactly where that ball was going. Out to Hall. First meaningful touch is back to Ludford. Hingston shielding that defence well. He'll come under pressure from Morton. It's surely a hard foul after he's played it. Darcy Hall just making his presence known.
Really liking Fitzgerald out here, sticking high and wide too to stretch out that defence a little bit more. Absolutely screaming for that ball from King Leonidas. And not forthcoming due to the brilliant pressure from Morton, but Devonport with a set piece here. They will always carry a threat from it.
Certainly will with the tall timber they've got at their disposal. Kingston, Reynolds, Mulroney all make their way forwards. Mulroney nods on. How will it fall? Fell to Havainen. Cleared to Joel Stone! Just wide. Not too far away. The chances are starting to mount for both teams here. Just starting to come all of a sudden. Can anyone seize one and make themselves the hero?
Good power on it there from Stone, but not quite the direction as Morton with a lovely cushion touch towards Hamlet. He will make his way into the box. Hammer time has Iski Van Dorn at the back post. Pretty sure that has gone out of play. 16, 17 minutes left plus stoppage time. Who can make themselves a hero and send their side into the round of 32 in the FFA Cup? Pitchford, I hope he gets that nice cheer when he runs up to take the kick. It does look like predominantly South Hobart jackets behind him. And Pitchford heaves that one high. Park underneath it, so was Sison. Hall has cleared it and does seem to be playing in the same position as Berezanski. Just trying to get some of the moisture off the ball is Park. Down the line for Bidwell. Thumped clear. There's plenty of time here for the strikers' defence. Neither side really getting their foot on the ball here in this second half.
Conditions are tough. As Pitchford thumps this one along. Both teams playing pretty direct too. Thomas wants to compete in the air against Giampoli. Adam Gorry blasts this one away. Well judged by Raph Reynolds. Sison scrapping away with Hall, and Darcy Hall skips free into space. He's got the fresh legs, Hall. Can he bring a little bit of spark and zip to them? He slides it across to Lakoseljac. Clever ball from Lakoseljac back to Morton. Morton shapes onto the left, back onto the right, and then he can't quite pick out the top right-hand corner of the net.
He was looking to do that from the minute that Ben Hamlet put his left-footed cross over the back about 4 minutes ago was Nick Morton. And he did manage to work the chance, but didn't get close to hitting the target there, unfortunately for him, but certainly the type of move that he likes to pull regularly, that one.
He's a distance shooting specialist. The crowd still giving plenty to Pitchford. I don't think he's going to be impacted by that sort of thing. As Savinen saw it away from Bidwell, but into the middle it fell for Hingston, and then Giampoli trying to pick out Fitzgerald. Adam Gorry doesn't deal with it. Fitzgerald! Max Fitzgerald! And a foul has been blown, I think.
Yep.
A foul has been blown.
And it's a foul.
Adam Gorry.
Stratos Plumeritis, villain or hero?
Well, let's have a look. It's a bold call. Fitzgerald in on Gorry. Gorry turns.
Yep.
So he just clipped the leg a little there.
Yeah,
Gorry takes a tumble. The referee has no doubt. It was a good finish, but it counts for nothing. We're still locked at 0-0, and now Nick Morton at the other end is threatening.
Yeah, I think Gorry clearly got his right back leg clipped there.
Wowee.
A huge decision. Brave from the referee to even make it.
Two massive calls have been made in this game at that end. And 0-0, one apiece, I suppose, when you consider it. There's this one's rolled back to Farrell. Adam Gorry. Well, I might, I think both correct, but I'm sure both sets of supporters won't feel that. They won't be seeing it that way. As Joel Stone tries to go around the giraffe, Oscar Thomas.
I got to give him a bit of credit today, Stratos. I think he's been brilliant.
It's a brave call.
Very
it takes
brave.
courage to make that decision.
I think I'm taking a while to think about it. I think it is a foul. I thought Gorry slipped live, but I think in the end there was enough
Contact on his back. On the back of his right leg there.
Yep, I think there was enough, as well as the shoulder. But back to live play. Fitzgerald, heavy touch, hits it in front of Thomas, and has gone out for a goal kick.
Well, the game's come alive, hasn't it, Paul?
Certainly has. And now Gorry will look to...
Here's another look at this. Oh no, we're back to live players.
Hamlet trying to turn around Mulraney. A bit exuberant there from Kieran Mulraney, but Pitchford had that well covered.
The sideline cam might give us quite a good view of the Gorry challenge. Next stoppage as Pitchford sends this one across. Reynolds down the line. Devonport just starting to work their way on top here. They've had the better of the last 15 minutes. Kingston rolls it forward for Stone. Oh, getting in his path was Giampoli. Just on the same page there. And now Nick Morton can pounce back the other way. Roll to Frisky Van Dorn. Here's the Canadian. He's got Darcy Hall charging on down the wing for him. That's where he heads. He's got Van Dorn in support. Back to the Canadian. His cross was blocked off. A bit of an anticlimax there. Eddie Bidwell will just seek out the safety of the line, and now perhaps we might get another look at that Gorry challenge. Or the challenge on Gorry, rather. Here we go. Watch the back leg. Slipping.
Yep, on the heel.
There.
Yeah, there it is.
There was a couple of touches.
Yeah, it's Kingston getting in a little trouble. So tough to judge those ones.
Brilliant work from our camera person.
Years ago, Eddie Bidwell's on. If he's onside, he's got Fitzgerald in the middle and he couldn't reach him. Oscar Thomas intervening. He just didn't have enough pepper on it to find Fitz at the back post.
Great decision there from the linesman. It was Adam Gorry, hadn't taken the 2 steps up that his centre backs had, and it's just a poor ball in unmarked, heading towards the penalty spot was the strikers. And again, another good half chance goes begging as the game gets really stretched here in the last 15 minutes. Going without the ball is Stone. Now Morton.
Great feat.
Picks it up, finds Hall, who's drifted centrally. Wants to spray it out to Van Dorn, but is immediately crowded by yellow shirts. The long ball out towards Bidwell. Good touch from Eddie Bidwell. Fitzgerald in the box if he wants it. Onto the right foot, goes over the top. Oscar Thomas with that positioning always puts heart in my mouth, but does well, the Giraffe.
It's Devonport really.
If he's even slightly in doubt of there being a player arriving at the back post, I think that's a brilliant header from the young man, Oscar Thomas.
Yeah, well controlled. Saw it behind as Nick Morton scurries back to help the defence, because they're just a little under siege at the moment, South. The relieving free kick preventing a goal for the Strikers, but they're on the charge for one here as he swings it to the back post. Well away by Ben Hamlet doing the defensive work, but another corner.
We needed to, as Mulroney was craning over two South Hobart players to get in on the action. Crucial header. And Sison will trot across to take as well from the other side. So Rain seems to have held off a touch on that far side. The hardened Strikers fans.
Watch for Mulroney here at this set piece, I think. It's completely by himself, looking to arrive late. Falls to the back, and the touch just taken away from Mulroney there by Park. Comes out the back to Fitzgerald, but a great challenge from Hall, and it could be on here. He looks to take him on, but takes a horrible first touch. And sliding in, could have just about given away the red there with that challenge on Bidwell, but got a little bit of the ball before Pitchy Pitchford with a little bit of shake and bake there.
Extricates himself from a little bit of difficulty back there, but geez, it looked on there when they broke. 3v3, here's Nick Morton. The pitch starting to open up here. This game opening right up, the pitch being stretched. There's some room to manoeuvre suddenly, and Joel Stone swings one up in the Ludford direction. Lakoseljac. Could Lakoseljac be the hero on this big day? It'd be fitting. Here's Nick Morton. He's had a good game today, the Morthog. But Joel Stone comes in to pick his pocket and swing it down the line too. And that's a lovely turn from Eddie Bidwell. And a lunging challenge was important from Ludford. And I think it's going to be brought back here.
It certainly is, as we have a look at Darcy Hall's heavy touch. And crunching in, that is a shocking challenge from Darcy Hall.
That's a red card.
That is studs up over the top of the shin pad.
Looked worse than I saw it the first time,
yeah,
for sure.
that is.
He may have gotten the ball
bang
first,
average.
but if you are going to be putting your studs into a bloke's shin halfway up,
He's
you
a
are
lucky boy.
asking questions of the referee at the least.
He's a very lucky boy, I reckon.
Bang average.
That's a nasty one from Darcy Hall. So Devonport will feel they're getting the short end of the stick here as that free kick's just blasted straight into Hammertime Hamlet.
Great work from Hammertime.
Who's about 6 yards away.
The ref didn't bring him back. I don't think he moved forward at all. So Hamlet just charging that down, but
Gee, Darcy Hall.
he's having to work back in defence here, because at the moment Devonport having a good little spell. Threatening to break through. Sison, the salad artist. Won't make anything happen on this occasion. And it's just cleared away by Darcy Hall, but it might come back with some interest. Mulroney or Morton left it behind. Ludford skews a clearance in Joel Stone's direction. Trying to skip free. Oh, well won Loic Farrell. The French Falcon robbed him of it. Now Hammertime Hamlet. Oh, great sliding challenge. Raph Reynolds knew exactly where he was going with it. And now Eddie Bidwell at the other end, but Ludford is cool and composed. He works it to Morton. The Morthog dwells on it, then rolls it down the line for Darcy Hall. The substitute to have a run at Raph Reynolds here and skip inside and let fly with the shots. But it's comfortably collected by Pitchford. Straight at him, but some good heat on that one.
On target, unlike a couple of his teammates' efforts in the last few minutes, as Sison gets in front of Lakoseljac, clipped by Gorry. Advantage played. Fitzgerald will burst down the left. Two coming in the box. Heavy touch. Fitzgerald well cleared from the Giraffe. Oscar Thomas coming across with those long levers. And Adam Gorry, I think he's in some trouble here.
And it's going to be brought back so we can check on the play. The advantage might save Gorry here. We'll see. Mulroney's making sure that the Plummer Regis is alert to it, and we'll see if he does pull out the cheddar. This might rule.
Here we go.
And that's going to be Adam Gorry out in the round of 32 if South were to win. So either way, whoever wins today is going to be minus one of their star men.
If you are listening, FFA, this is a stupid rule that is denying two fantastic young men the opportunity to play at the highest level.
Yeah, I'll put that on par with the two yellows at the Euros rule that ruled Ramsey out of the semi-final. Not quite on that tier, but for some of these players to miss an occasion like
And
that.
everybody here thinks it.
Due to an accumulation of yellows, I just feel like a bit of an amnesty would be in order before the round of 32.
Absolutely.
If you're listening out there. But anyway, the rules are rules. They're both well aware of it heading into the game, and they've both picked up slices as Sison swings it in near post, right, gets in trouble. The strikers are claiming a goal. The ball is cleared away. Hit that across the line. Chipped back in by Sison, and right with the safe hands. High drama here.
I think that this was right, just getting his left palm, or right palm rather, into the side netting there. Not quite crossing the line, but the drama continues to build. It is the Cup. Could we be seeing the magic of the Cup very soon? Daniel Sison, what kind of a ball can he chop up here? Not much chop at all from the salad artist. The best barber in Devonport. Not quite on the point there.
So Graham Wright just sits it on the deck and will pause momentarily as Miles Barnard's about to be introduced. They left it late, but they're going to conjure and send for the Fox. Here's Giampoli. Oh, well done, Oscar Thomas. Just won it off him. Iski Van Dorn. Stone trying to mow him down from behind, but the Canadian skipping free. Across he goes now to Darcy Hall. He'll want to get onto that right boot of his. He does just that. Shaping to shoot, and then dinks one across for Adam Gorry. He's got some room. He squares it back for Morton. It was a poor ball, but they get it right back. Morton overlapping. Gorry ignored that option. Just holds it up. Now he goes there. Morton bending the cross in. It's a dangerous one, and Pitchford with a strong fist away. Oh, great turn that from the Calgary Fly, Iski Van Dorn. Van Dorn against Bidwell, swings it into Hamlets. Deflected to the back post. And Pitchford read it perfectly, got across to it. I reckon that deflection was taking it in too.
Well, I hear that they're making a trilogy now. It'll be Pitch Perfect 3, Nathan Pitchford. That is absolutely marvellous from the young man. And he looks to have put somebody in a lot of pain behind the ball there in South Hobart. That gets Nick Morton struggling to get up. And he's onside here, I think. Max Fitzgerald to win the Lakoseljac Cup. He goes around right, and he puts it into the post. He puts it into the post and wide. Incredible scenes here.
Giampoli from a yard out. Fitzgerald stayed onside. It was Havainen at the far post. Step over, around right. Giampoli, he's right there. He's hit the post.
Somewhere Jaden Hay is smiling as that will be the Fox in the box into the contest, and he replaces Dom Smith, but remarkably he comes on with his team still locked at 0-0. I don't know how that hasn't gone in. He's missed from a yard out
because of the magic of the Cup, Andrew. That is why
Max
we'll have tension until the last.
Max Fitzgerald, so clever. Beat right, all ends up, put it in the perfect spot, and the Argentine couldn't steer it home. Barnard replacing Smith here is the substitute. So they'll change their shape now. Giampoli looks like he's going to drift out wide, and Bidwell's gone back into fullback. So don't mind that move. Here's Barnard, but he's beaten in the air first up by Oscar Thomas. Probably as good a matchup in the state as there is for Barnard. Oscar Thomas, Joel Stone turning into the Canadian. Van Dorn skipped free and then was fouled by Eddie Bidwell. And Eddie Bidwell. No, someone's...
Bidwell.
It is Bidwell. So that post just really poorly placed.
He was only ever had the direction of going to Bidwell. Left the leg in there as Iski Van Dorn was running down the right-hand side. And as you say, the Fox in the box, Miles Barnard has gone up top. Bidwell back to, well, he's usually more traditional fullback. We haven't seen him there so far this season. It's where he's played the last few years. As we tick ever towards the 90 minutes and extra time, will there be a last-minute hero from this free kick as Adam Gorry sends this one into the mixer. Flicked on from Frell. Back post. Thomas Pitchford comes out. The South Hobart fans behind the goal. What a penalty. Don't think there was a whole lot in that. And Pitchford will use up all his allocated time. Heaves it towards Barnard. If he flicks it to Sison here, they're in some trouble. They didn't quite get the direction. Ludford was dropping and dropping.
He just needed to get that to his 7 o'clock. And it's gone to his 5. Fine margins it is in the game of football.
Well, number 7 was lurking at 7 o'clock, and great goal kick from Pitchford. The distance he got on that, and these long balls onto the head of Barnard could cause some troubles yet against some side bodies. Morton trying to get around Bidwell, who Be the left back for the rest of this game, it seems, with Smith making way. Iski Van Dorn squares it to Loic Farrell. French Falcon to Gorry. Back to Farrell. Hall and Morton and Iski Van Dorn. They're lining up in the middle here. Iski Van Dorn goes to the back post and it's volleyed home! It's Toby Hawaiian with a perfectly placed volley! And in the 90th minute, South Hobart look like they've won it! Toby Hawaiian, the hero! And Devonport have stoppage time to respond!
There is a no more unlikely hero, I think, in this South Hobart lineup to pop up for a 90th minute winner than Tobias Havainen. Was in and out of the side at the start of the season to start with. Has the left back spot down pat. Iski Van Dorn from the far side. First time volley over the head of Pitchford. Toby Havainen only just joined South Hobart this season and they could have won the Lacquer Cup for them.
I say, solid at the back, lethal at the front from the young man. He has smashed that home at the most crucial of moments too.
Oh, how's the composure from Iski Van Dorn too? He looked up, took a moment, spotted the run of Havainen and then put it on a platter. Pitchford's still got across there, but you can't stop that. He roofs the finish. And we head into stoppage time with South Hobart ahead. 3 minutes have been signalled by the fourth official. That's what the Strikers have left. Are South finally going to be able to turn the tables? In 2016 it was 1-0 to the Strikers. In 2018 it was 1-0 to the Strikers. As we tick into stoppage time today, it's 1-0 to South Hobart. And Adam Gorry just smashes this one into the neighbouring yards. 2 minutes to play.
Rick Coughlin running up to do the fourth official's duty and collect the ball a bit quicker. As we have a look at that again, I reckon they're going to be wanting to throw this in pretty quickly.
What
the Strikers.
a finish.
Throw in.
That's a lot
into
of
the
play.
box. Gorry cleared. Van Dorn gets more distance on it. He may even find touch as well. He'll do well to take this back to the keeper. Will Mulroney. Pitchford. One more heave to come towards the back post. Barnard wrestling. Fox in the box. He's penalty. No penalty given. He's clattered into after winning the header. He's still on the ground. And no penalty given.
This has to be a penalty, surely. He has headed it clearly onwards and been utterly clattered by Graham White.
Where is VAR?
Oh, dearie me.
Drama here for Devonport.
The Strikers protesting a point, but I don't think it's going to change. Barnard wins the header.
He is comfortably clear.
Clobbered in the face after that.
Oh, dearie me. South have dodged a bullet there.
Second bullet dodged for South.
Wowee, the drama of the cup, fellas. What a grandstand finish for Devonport. Well, everyone needs to come up here. Bitchy Pitchford needs to get himself up there.
Well, he's up. He's already up there already. Barnard has won the header. Clattered into by Graham Wright.
They've been punched in the face, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
I'm
interested there's Graham Wright who's still down, mind you. Barnard's back up and ready to go, but the Scotsman's down.
You would stay down after committing an egregious foul like that in the 92nd minute of a cup final.
Slice of cheese for Nick Owen on the sideline as well. Always one who probably said a little too much or possibly going on the field there from no.
Probably understand what he was saying, but there we go.
Pitchy's up.
Got to think there's still going to be 2 minutes left.
Pitchford. Yep.
So here we are. There's still going to be time left, but Pitchford is up. Corner, 94th minute. Max Fitzgerald to take. Everybody up for the Strikers. There's probably still 2 minutes left. We've had a 2 minute stoppage. And Fitzgerald will eventually be allowed to take this one.
Stratos is at the other end of the field.
Stratos has gone and booked Ken Morton, I think, or Dan Brown. He's booked someone on the South Hobart bench anyway.
Well, given Dogger got a card last time, let's just assume it's Dogger.
Judging by the smirk from Dogger Brown too, I'd say he's picked himself up his slice of cheese. But as things stand, he is not going to give a damn. He is going to be a very pleased man, not just a cheesed man.
And so Max Fitzgerald to take. Well, Barnard's been forced off here. There must be a little bit of claret. No, he's been told to come off and come back on. What is going on here?
What is going on here?
Anyway, I don't really understand this. Well, anyway, no Fox in the box. But now the Fox in the box is allowed. Oh, what is this? Absolute chaos.
pedantry here.
But finally, we're set to go. Max Fitzgerald to take. Pitchy's up. He swings it right into the mixer. Curled back in. Stretch clear. It's Iski Van Dorn. He's got an empty net ahead of him. The crowd rises. Pitchy storming back. Iski Van Dorn has sealed the cup final for South Hobart. It's all over. 2-0 South.
The crowd has erupted here at KG5. There is pandemonium on the sidelines. The Calgary Flyer showing his pace. Pitchford went up for the corner, as you would, leaving the gaping hole at the back. You can see Pitchford running with all his might. Iski Van Dorn took a moment of composure. Hits the back of the net.
Dare I be preemptive, but your 2019 Lakoseljac Cup medalist, Iski Van Dorn, shredded it out there today.
He'll be getting my 3 votes. I can't speak for the other 3 judges on the panel, but I'll certainly be giving him 3, so we'll see. But that's surely the sealer.
Chaos.
South Hobart, but controversy reigns at the end. A huge penalty shout to Miles Barnard turned down, and one you feel the strikers deserved. But South have ridden their luck, and they've iced the game there through the Canadian, who has been a standout today.
What a last 15 minutes we have had here of football. Drama ridden. It's gotten absolutely everything.
Sison now. South players do not need to get themselves sent off here and miss an FFA Cup game. They need to just let cooler heads prevail. It's boiling over here.
Sison, I completely missed what Sison did, to be brutally honest there.
Certainly drew a response. South player came flying in.
He's kicked him.
Yeah, he can't do that.
He's kicked out at him.
And he's been sent off for it by the looks of the way that he's walking away.
It was right under the eye of Nathan Cote over there.
Wow, this is the first time that I've ever seen the Devonport Strikers fall apart in such a manner.
Yeah.
Disappointing to see after such an extraordinary game, but after an event like the right clattering, there's going to be some very high emotions as the Bronx cheers ring out for the ball lad.
Well, controversy reigning here in the Lakoseljac Cup. It looks like it will be South Hobart's night. Graham Wright will take the goal kick. Launches it forward. It's surely all over now. Ben Hamlet will give chase.
Just a reminder, it was only 3 minutes of added time initially.
We've had a lot of it, and there it is! South Hobart get their revenge. It's third time the charm for this football club. They win another one, and it was another absolute epic drama controversy. It had it all. And at the end of the game, South Hobart, a 90th minute stunner from Toby Havainen volleying home to win the Lakoseljac Cup final.
It was a slow burner to start with, but that last 15 minutes was cup football at its finest. Drama, great finishing to be fair, controversial decisions, players sent off. It really had it all. And the Strikers, they've got a long bus trip to mull over that one. Calls for a penalty in the last few minutes. South Hobart, though, they did have that good patch in the first half. They made some consistent pressure again towards the end of the second half, Jake, and on-field play, they did have a fair bit of it today.
On-field play, you almost couldn't split the two sides, but I just think South Hobart worked so well out wide today, in particular. Young Berezanski having an excellent effort out wide. But more than that was Iski Van Dorn. How about his work rate today? And more importantly, his speed in particular to get him behind Devonport and deliver a few beautiful fizzing balls. And what a way to cap off such a brilliant game for him, to pick up the sealer with a very composed sliding finish, only just beyond the halfway line. Marvellous stuff, South Hobart, but it was alive from the moment that Fitzgerald fizzed the one across the face, which Jimpali missed and slotted straight into the post.
I still don't know how Jimpali missed that. I'll go days, weeks, months not knowing how Jimpali missed that shot. Fitzgerald really got him behind a few times there as well. And really, maybe Devonport regretting not bringing the Fox in the box, Miles Barnard, on a tad earlier. They did wait on that decision. It was a good buzzing performance from South Hobart. I thought Hamlet made some good runs. It was a bit of more aerial game than I was expecting here this afternoon, especially from South Hobart, even when they're up against a defensive team who set the stall out like the Strikers did this game and in their last one. They still try to play it on the deck, but Glenn McNeil there, can't even hear myself think with the PA going over. And South Hobart are in raptures, and I will agree with the synopsis. Iski Van Dorn, I thought, if he doesn't get the medal, I'll be shocked.
Yep.
I thought he was an absolute live wire. Goal and an assist in the final. You've got to remember, he's come back. He played last year for the Zebras, paid his own way to fly back over here. And for moments like that, it is worth every
And
cent.
look at that moment there for Bradley Lakoseljac.
With his mum and younger siblings as well. Naradine there will present the trophy in a few moments. Brendan out there as well.
You've really got to give a bit of credit to Ken Morton for this one too, I think, because he has brought through players like Lakoseljac, and he has brought through players like Berezanski and Oscar Thomas, and they are really starting to become a permanent feature in this South Hobart side, and such young players receiving a beautiful reception. Ben Hamlet on his return. Gorry,
as well.
The ex-Devonport star, all of them put in a pretty good shift today.
I was about to point out Hugh Ludford playing in his umpteenth cup final. Obviously, we mentioned he was here earlier on in the 2008 cup final. He's the only one sticking around from that day. He's been a part of all of South Hobart's success over the last few years. And we may just leave the calls up to
Devonport and South Hobart. Firstly, can we thank the match officials today? Our referee, Stratos Plumeridis, assistants Brenton Copra and Nathan Code, fourth official James Hamilton. The presentations are being made by Sarah and Jada Lakoseljac. Can I ask the captain of Devonport to come to the microphone and say a few words? You know the deal, the ref, the opposition, your own team. There's two, you've got to hold two there, mate.
All right, firstly, I'd like to thank our boys. Magnificent bunch of blokes, and obviously we wouldn't be here without them. They all put in a big shift today. Wasn't our day, unfortunately. Another day could have went the other way, but that's football. To South boys, credit to he's come at us. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and nothing short of a cracker of a final, I think. Intense both ways. Good luck in the FFA Cup. Hopefully you can do Tassie proud. Get through, have a bit of a run. Do it for Tassie, eh? Congratulations.
Can I have the captain of South Hobart come to the microphone, please? You know the deal? That's right. Just, yeah, you've got to hold both.
First off, I'd like to thank Devonport. You blokes have been tremendous tonight, as you have all year. We knew we had to bring our A game tonight. You blokes have set the bar high the last few seasons in this cup, and we had to come out strong, and we did, and you blokes put it up to us for the full 90. So thanks, guys. Great effort. Thanks to the officials. Great effort tonight. Didn't really know you were out there, which is the sign of a good game. So thanks a lot, Stratos and the boys. Thanks to the crowd. Been wonderful all year. Couldn't do it without you. And thanks to our boys. Great effort, fellas. Bring on the round of 32 in the FFA Cup. Here you go.
Maybe just hang around and we'll present the cup to you in a second. Okay, if we can just start to name our South Hobart players to be presented by winners, presented with winners' medals. Firstly, Sam Berezanski, Jack Bowman, Kieran Brown, Tay Evans, Loic Farrell, Adam Gorry, Darcy Hall, Casper Hallam, Benjamin Hamlet, Tobias Huwainen, Bradley Lakoseljac, Nicholas Morton, Oscar Thomas, Iski Van Dorn, Graham Wright, Coach Ken Morton, and Assistant Coach 1 Brendan Lakoseljac, Assistant Coach 2 Chris Oddy, Daniel Brown. Any more? Mark Moncur. You get one for you, Gary? Sorry, Hugh. Player of the match, as voted by a panel of experts, has been awarded to Loic Farrell. And the player of the match is presented by Mrs. Lakoseljac. And now, can Mrs. Lakoseljac present the Lakoseljac Cup to Hugh Ludford. Congratulations, South Hobart Lakoseljac Cup champions 2019.
Cup champions and Tasmanian entrance into the round of 32 of the FFA Cup. South Hobart, a beautiful touch there from Hugh Ludford, giving Bradley Lakoseljac the chance to claim the trophy off his grandmother. That is an amazing moment for their family. It'll be South Hobart, the victors. Any last words for you today, Jake?
Just what a marvellous game we witnessed today. Full credit to Devonport, who really fought it out, and football is one of those games where decisions can really decide which way the match swings in the crucial moments, but take nothing away from South Hobart and their performance today. Deserved cup winners at the end of the 90, and champions of the state of Tasmania in the cup.
Doesn't matter what level it is, the drama and passion of this beautiful game is unmatched throughout the world. Another example of that tonight. It'll be South Hobart going through as champions, and we'll see you again next time and look at the celebration. South Hobart, Lakoseljac Cup champions.